When you're trying to find the domain of a function, you're trying to find all the values that you can plug into the function without breaking any math rules. So with the g of x, the one thing I'm worried about is dividing by 0. So I want to take that denominator and set it equal to 0. And these are the numbers I need to exclude. So this is a quadratic equation. To solve it, you want to factor an x out of both of those. And then set each factored piece equal to 0. So x equals 0 would make that denominator equals 0, and x equals 4 would make the denominator. So those are numbers we have to skip, or else we'd be dividing by 0. So when you write your solution in interval notation, the smallest number possible, well, we never reach, it's negative infinity. And then we want to keep on going negative 10, negative 0, negative 2, and then once we get to 0, we want to skip it. So I'm going to stop and put a parentheses, and then the union symbol, and another parentheses, and then we're going to start at 0. Anything greater than 0 but less than 4 is also possible. And then 4 to infinity. Okay, so this is the domain. Notice how if I need to skip over just two certain numbers, I use this union operator and I stop the train right at that intersection at 0. Okay, so same thing over here. I want to look out for divide by 0 problems, but I don't want to square root a negative. So I need 7 minus x. That has to be greater than 0, or else I'm square rooting a negative, or equal to, because you can have a square root of 0. So if I solve that inequality, I can add x to both sides. That gets x by itself. Or we're used to reading things from left to right, so I'm going to flip that around, make sure the inequality is pointing the same direction. X needs to be less than or equal to 7. That takes care of this part. We've got that restriction taken care of. Now in the denominator, can you plug in a number for x to make this parentheses equal 0? You need a negative 9, but you can't get a negative if you're going to be squaring it, so this can't happen. Over here, x minus 2, we can get a 0 out of that. X cannot equal 2 in this function, or else we're dividing by 0. So negative infinity is possible because all of our numbers have to be less than or equal to 7. So negative infinity all the way up to 2, then get off the train and reboard once you're past 2. And then go to 7, and then we need a bracket because you can plug in 7. There's no problem there. 7 minus 7 equals 0. Square root of 0 is possible, right? So this is the domain for this function over here.